Mr. Lord with the CBC Evening News. In our top story, the Transport Board should soon get some new buses, and Transport Minister Michael Lashley has promised to reveal more details once Cabinet has given its approval to purchase them. Lisa Broom has more.
Minister Lashley was speaking at the Democratic Labour Party's St. Michael East branch meeting over the weekend. He says the board is in the final stages of securing the financing for the purchase.
We have, of course, to purchase some new buses, and we will do it, along with working with the private sector, providing their services through the minibuses and ZRs on some routes. That is how we should shape the public transport system.
The minister also gave an update on the ongoing Transport Authority Service Integration Project, where select route taxis are allowed to pick up passengers in the Fairchild Street terminal to ply particular routes. Sturgis and Edie Village are two of the three routes on which the pilot has already started. Mr. Lashley says some changes will be made to ensure the routes are serviced better, and another look will be taken at passenger distribution.
That there's no imbalance then in terms of if a van go into the terminal, that is the integration project, and if it's a scheduled thing, and that we recognize that passengers are not there, that there be some flexibility in terms of the owner of that van, so that it can either wait till the passengers come so that it can be full. All those things we look at.
The St. Philip North MP also says after being put on hold over the Christmas period, workmen from the Ministry of Transport and Works will resume their duties at the river terminal this month.
When work starts, but I think by this week, we have to do some rerouting. So we have to consult now with the PSV owners, the drivers out there. The second thing too, we have to move some stalls out there. Some stalls have to move. And we're having a meeting shortly this week to discuss with some stall owners out there that they will be affected, but we'll find somewhere for them that they could continue to sell.
The river expansion project is expected to cost $4 million. Lisa Broom, CBC News.
Well, a former Calypso monarch has put his hat in the ring, vying to be the Barbados Labour Party candidate for St. Philip West, and Shane Seeley has the details.
Former pick-of-the-crop monarch John King, along with another first-timer, Shanika Roberts-Odell, and former candidate Don Callender, were introduced to party faithfuls at a branch meeting held at Princess Margaret School on Sunday night. After the meeting, King told reporters while politics can be a nasty business, he believes it's worth the risk.
I had to say to myself, which is more important? You being in a safe corner, or is it you getting out there and really doing the things that you know that you're capable of doing to help push this country forward? And I think that one will be out time after time after time.
Ms. Roberts-Odell, the other newcomer, says she's getting involved to be a voice for young people in her community.
As a part and a member of the Barbados Labour Party and as a young person in this country, it's about time we step forward and be seen. We're not hooligans, we're not thugs, we're not out here on the block smoking, we're not cruising and having fun. We are a member of this society and we need to be heard and represented. While
Don Callender believes the youth of St. Philip need a role model.
You have to put a blueprint in place so that they can follow. And that's the problem that we face now. The older generation has not put anything in place for young people to follow. So in terms of seeing young people doing all what they're doing, because there was nothing infrastructure put in place for them to follow.
Now, in her address to the meeting, the opposition leader Mia Motley revealed that more and more people are stepping up to the plate in an effort to become a candidate for the BLP.
There are 3 young Barbadians who have offered themselves thus far, and I'm told there may even be 1 or 2 more for this constituency. There are 5 who have offered themselves so far for St. John. And that should tell you and speak volumes to you that more and more Barbadians are being persuaded that it is their duty to stand up and be counted and to help on the front line.
And the BLP will be rolling out those vying for candidacy in its continuing preparations for elections constitutionally due in 2018. Shane Seeley, CBC News.
The Barbados Secondary Teachers Union maintains that its members will not correct school-based assessments this year unless they are paid to do so by the Caribbean Examinations Council. And President Marianne Redmond says they made this position clear to officials of the Ministry of Education during a long-awaited meeting at the ministry's Constitution Road headquarters this morning. She says they were able to show the ministry officials in a practical way the burden placed on teachers by the SBA requirements, as well as how this is compounded by the introduction of the CVQs and the CCSLC programs. And from all accounts, according to Ms. Redmond, they were very surprised at the reality of that workload.
We were able to show them just one SBA of a CAPE student, 108 pages, that one SBA was. That particular teacher has 70 students at the CAPE level between two classes. She also teaches at CSEC level. She's doing CVQs, she's doing CCSLC, and she teaches in 3 subject areas. So she has SBAs for 3 different subject areas with a multitude of students. And when they were able to, in a practical way, see that type of information for themselves, I think it brought home our position very clearly to them.
Well, when contacted, Permanent Secretary June Chandler, who chaired that meeting, opted not to comment on the outcome, but Ms. Redmond says a follow-up meeting has been tentatively proposed for the first week of next month. Well, the Queen Elizabeth Hospital has launched a full investigation into the circumstances surrounding 2 maternal deaths which occurred within the last 2 weeks. And the QEH has promised to release the findings of that investigation to the public as soon as the report is available. In a release this evening, the QEH says that according to the established protocol, all maternal deaths are investigated by a committee led by the Director of Medical Services. The committee also includes the head of the Obstetrics and Gynecology Department, the Director of Nursing Services, the Clinical Risk Manager, and the Legal Officer. The committee was expanded by the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Dexter James, to include a representative from the Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners to ensure balance and objectivity in the investigation. The Director of Medical Services, Mr. Anthony Harris, will meet with the families of the deceased shortly to apprise them of the status of the investigations. The Queen Elizabeth Hospital says it continues to provide outstanding maternal care to all expectant mothers and is considered a safe institution for the delivery of babies. Well, 3 people, 2 men and a woman, are now out on bail after they appeared in court today on charges of violent disorder. According to police, this arose after they were involved in a brawl at the popular fast food outlet Chefette on Black Rock, St. Michael over the weekend. The 3 were granted $5,000 bail each and are expected to reappear at the District A Magistrates Court on April the 18th. Among the 3 is Gary Walters of Black Rock, St. Michael, a male security guard at Chefette. The other 2 are Rene Griffith of Broomfield, St. Lucie, and Charmaine Moore of Forehill in St. Peter. Now, the incident came to prominence after the video of the brawl went viral on social media. The organizers of the 50th Barbados anniversary celebration say the bar has been set high with the successful launch of activities in historic Bridgetown last week. Co-chair of the 50th anniversary celebration secretariat, Senator Dr. Esther Beyer, says a massive crowd was in historic Bridgetown to be part of history, and many more watched it right here live on CBC TV 8. The launch featured a parade, a multimedia concert dubbed Barbados We Come From, and a fireworks display.
From there, we only can take it higher. I thought that having done such a good job, if I may say so myself, on behalf of the team, because it really was a massive team effort to bring off an event like that. Having set the bar there, you know what augurs for the remainder of the year as we aim to climax on the 30th of November this year with our 50th anniversary celebrations.
The commemorative Broken Trident is currently in the parish of St. George, the first of its many stops across the island. From there, it will travel across all the other parishes. Senator Dr. Beyer says even the diaspora wants a commemorative trident.
In England, they want a trident. In America, they want a trident. We're thinking we can do a virtual trident as well, you know, that people can sign on to by social media and so on. So everybody wants a piece of this trident action because of what it represents. But as we see our trident, I want to encourage you this morning not just to think of it as our breaking away from England. We did that 50 years ago. And yes, that is significant. But what does our broken trident mean to us?
Well, despite its limited resources, the National Council on Substance Abuse has been able to reach out and touch thousands of lives every year. This from Attorney General and Minister of Home Affairs Adriel Brathwaite, who says the NCSA is still relevant today and its work is outstanding. His comments came during a service at the Bank Hall Church of the Nazarene, marking the launch of Drug Awareness Month.
We don't exactly have a lot of money to do the things that we would like to do. But with the 17 staff members that we have and the significant contribution of our volunteers who work with us day and night to ensure that we can change the lives of many Barbadians who are addicted to legal and illegal substances, we understand the relevance of what we do.
Mr. Brathwaite also responded to concerns recently expressed by a senior attorney criticizing the remanding of a man to prison for having a 5-bag of marijuana.
What we would like to do is to bring them into the drug treatment court program and see how we can divert them from the abuse of substances. In that regard, our first cohort should be graduating this month. So we will then do an analysis via the NCSA in terms of its successes or otherwise, but the feedback that I've received would suggest that we've gone in the right direction in terms of trying not to criminalize behavior where addiction is the issue, but try to address what can correctly be described as a healthcare challenge.
An international foundation dedicated to the preservation of heritage has expressed an interest in a restored Carnegie Building, which is the first free library in Barbados. The task force set up to oversee the restoration launched a fundraising project last year to finance the $4 million restoration of the historic building located on Coleridge Street in Bridgetown. The Carnegie Building served as the headquarters of the National Library Service until it was vacated due to its deteriorating condition over 5 years ago. Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber sees potential in the building, saying it's important to the city. The role his foundation will take, however, will be an educational one or in the use of that building. Lord Andrew, an international patron of the Preservation Task Force, was among the many guests attending a heritage cocktail reception at the Lime Grove Lifestyle Center. He says it's vital to protect the built environment.
It is vital that we preserve our built environment. It is something that really deeply affects us all, and it really affects particularly the way that young people perceive their lives. I think is hugely affected by the environment.
And Minister of Culture, Sports and Youth Stephen Lashley says heritage preservation is important to the Frundle Stewart-led administration.
That is why it established both the task force and the trust to be at the forefront of fundraising efforts, which of course is required to rehabilitate and restore our heritage treasures, beginning of course with those buildings in the World Heritage property of Bridgetown and its garrison.
A leading musician is telling local artists that Barbadian music does not always have to be what he termed crop-over music nor imported. Nicholas Branker offered the advice as he says he wants to see local music grow. Mr. Branker is one of the acts for the upcoming Naniki Barbados Music Festival, which opens on Wednesday and runs until January 17th. He will share the stage with multi-Grammy Award winner Roberta Flack.
We don't have to be reggae artists necessarily, or pop artists, or whatever. Our music can still be ours outside of that limitation. And I'm hoping that I will achieve that next week, Saturday night.
The Barbados Workers Union is hoping to finally bring a resolution to a 9-year-old issue regarding outstanding monies owed to Barbados Water Authority employees. General Secretary of that union, Tony Moore, says the money relates to an agreement that came out of a job evaluation process. She made the comments to members of the media during a press conference after union officials met with BWA workers at the union's Solidarity House headquarters to update them on the issues this evening.
That particular issue, an issue which involves outstanding monies owed dating back to 9 years ago, is one that occupied our attention, therefore, because it basically touches on the majority, a large majority of workers at the authority, workers who would have been employees in 2006, and to a lesser extent, those who joined more recently.
Ms. Moore says there is willingness on both sides to resolve the issue and that efforts will be ongoing to reach an agreement over the outstanding issues.
The issue confronting the Barbados Water Authority is one that, for persons in the public looking on, they may lose some perspective on it. It is easy for it to be felt that the Barbados Water Authority or the workers at the Barbados Water Authority are making demands on a financial system that is already very challenged. What will not be known is that the management, the board and management of the Water Authority had committed to honoring the payments to the workers going back to 2006.
Well, several residents from Walmer Lodge, Black Rock to Sunset Crescent, St. James and University Hill through to Wanstead and a section of West Terrace were left without electricity for about 3 hours last night. According to the Barbados Light and Power Company, service crews responded to customer calls that an explosion was heard in the area of West Terrace in St. James just after 7. A bird conductor was found on a pole at Danesbury, Black Rock, and is believed to be the cause of that power outage. Electricity was restored to all customers close to about 10:30. The Barbados Light and Power Company Limited has apologized for the inconvenience caused to customers affected by that outage. The company says it will continue its efforts to provide an efficient and reliable service to Barbadians. Well, Barbados has its first centenarian for the year. This morning, family members and friends gathered at the Broomwood Retirement Home of the island's newest centenarian, Dorothy Casey, to celebrate her birthday. His Excellency Sir Elliot Belgrave visited Miss Casey and her family for the celebrations. He thanked the centenarian for her contributions to Barbados. Miss Casey has 2 children, 12 grands, and 20 great-grandchildren.